I know it from myself that when I came to this realization that I suck at letting go, I started to analyze it, and I was like, of some things that are in air quotes bad for me, I don't even want to let them go. It's okay. Yeah, it's really, we are attached to things that are bad for us, in air quotes. We are attached to our trifles and our nonsense because they've been with us for so long that we think it's us. And then the thought of letting go, we become afraid because we think if we let that go, where will I be? So you follow me here?
Yes.
It's like a survival thing. It's a fact.
Hello everyone, welcome to the 9th episode of Unfinished Business. Today I'm joined with my dear friend Carl, and I'm trying something different, a little different. Carl's going to coach me. Thank you for coming here, Carl, today.
Thanks for having me, Roham. I didn't actually know it was the 9th episode. That's pretty cool. What a special number. Yeah, I guess short introduction to me. Hi, I'm Carl. I'm 24. Why coaching? Even though I think we shouldn't even call it that because it's like a specific perspective which we can go into in a sec. I'm super interested in everything that constitutes the human being. So I'm really heavily interested in how our mind, body, and soul are affected. Why, deep spirituality, psychoneurology, how our thoughts and emotions actually affect our brain, how trauma can affect brain development, neuroplasticity, etc., etc. In short, I'm just really, really interested in finding out what makes us, what makes me tick, and then maybe trying to bring that outward and provide value to people. So yeah. So other than that, yeah.
So, as I told you just now, things just keep getting better. Overall, there are down times in terms of personal mood, in terms of external events. But overall, things seem to be getting better for me for the past few months. So, I think I had the lowest point of my life this summer, summer 2020. And then, since then, good things have happened.
How do you measure if things are going good? Is that how do you measure that? Is that like externally things are good for you, or is that an internal feeling? Or is it that external events influence your internal feeling? What? Yeah.
I think I would go with the third option.
The third option.
Inevitably, I think you can always work internally in any situation that you're in to make it as pleasant as possible, or as, whatever word you want to use it, as fulfilling as possible, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the external world that impacts at least the way you see the world as a human that is so, self-centered and so what your ego sees it, basically. On the ego side, the external world really affects.
Wow.
I mean, that's in a world where, I'm not starving. That's a different story. But in the normal day-to-day life that I have, the external world seems to be right now really pleasing my ego. And internally, I'm healthier than I was in the summer, and I'm also just trying to improve things day to day.
By internally, what precisely do you mean?
Everything that is not directly related to I just said this in the last episode, the dictator sitting in my brain. He's not a dictator anymore. The constitutional monarch that is sitting in my brain.
Yes. He's downgraded a bit.
Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah, I remember
my body has upgraded a bit.
Mm.
Yeah. My brain hasn't downgraded. My body has upgraded.
Good. Yeah. I understand. I wasn't referring to your brain downgrading. I was simply referring to that mental voice that we talked about once before also, that guy specifically seems to have, chilled out a little bit. Am I correct in assuming
Oh,
that?
for sure. For sure.
Cool.
I would say, to a large extent, I owe that to Hannes. I mean, honestly, the first episode on this podcast was one of the greatest conversations I've had, even though it wasn't that, like, I wasn't that skilled at interviewing people or, running a podcast. But the amount of joy I got from that podcast and the class that he had before it, and that guy, yeah. I would say of the people that, really give me joy in life, it's definitely, Hannes is definitely one of them. You are also another person that every time I have a conversation with, I go out and like, this feels good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm having a lot of struggles, but the main struggle is where to go next. I already kind of expect what answer you're going to give to this, but I want to still hear it. Where do you think my life should be headed, or is headed, or whatever?
So first off, I don't think there is no should. There is no should or should not. So yeah, to first like let go of that internal pressure that you believe that there is like a direction you need to go into or supposed to go into. To add on to that, I think that your life will inevitably go into the direction that you truly want it to go into. And by truly want it to go into, I mean the desire you have in your heart. And if that's a bit conflicting, that's okay, because sometimes the desire we have in our head, it doesn't actually match what we really, really want.
And how do you distinguish
between the two? Good question. By asking, by questioning, and digging
into yourself.
Yes. So this is something I've been experimenting with over the last couple of days, and it's actually been very interesting. I hope it can help you too. So I do this specifically when I like freshly woke up, because for some reason it's easier to question internally. And what do I mean by question internally? So let's take something as simple as relationships. I want to have more relationships. This can be from a man's perspective or a female's perspective. Yeah. So I want to have more sexual relations with the opposite sex. Why? Because it, gratifies me.
Well, also that's what you're made for.
Well, that's what your body's made for. Yeah.
Well, a significant portion of your body's functions are drive through.
One of
revolve around sex.
Let's go there and just like underline it. The body is made, to eat, sleep, and fuck. Like it's made to reproduce. I don't think that we literally are that, but I think that's kind of an intellectual conversation. So,
wait, so before we get deeper, I want to just make sure I know where you stand on this. How do you define self?
That's such a good question. Look, I have no definition for self. However, I know what is not self. And Let me rephrase that. I know what is not me, what is not actually me. And why do I say that self is, why did I just say that? Because we have a mental idea of who we are. I have a mental idea of who Carl is. Okay, and that Carl is a collection of, it's kind of like a collage. I kind of see it like a collage of different pictures and experiences and emotions attached to those experiences, This happened to me in my past, and therefore I react this way to these sorts of situations. Yeah. And that has happened so often that I now believe that is me. In reality, it isn't. In reality, in truth, that is not the actual you. That is a mental idea of who you think you are.
So you think there is a self within you that doesn't change based on your environment?
Yes.
Basically. See, that's where I think we disagree.
Interesting.
Because for me, right up till when you said, these things have happened to you, as a result you behave in this way, that's where the definition of the self ends for me.
Can you elaborate a little bit? I didn't quite understand. So where does the definition of the self end for you?
I am, a Homo sapien who was born out of a woman's body, and I went through stuff. I made decisions, and I consumed substances, food, just like nutrition, normal, and other substances. But I just mean, consume resources, use the energy that I got from those resources to do things. Things externally happened to me. I did things to the external world. I mean, again, this external world goes back to the self. It's very loosely defined because at the end of the day, these are just star guts and star corpse, basically a star corpse. But at the end of the day, I'm not that much different from you, and we're not that much different from that tree, and that tree is not that different from that building. But there's a very thin line basically for me between this body and its borders and the external world. It's a very, very thin line, quite literally. I mean, it's just skin.
And I mean, on a quantum physics level, there is actually no barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been doing a little bit of research into like the science of spirituality, and this theory that, or not this theory, but this principle that a lot of like yogis say is like we're all one. On a quantum level, we literally are all one. Because we're all connected through, and I am paraphrasing here, I believe the empty space that the majority, like that make up atoms. Through that, we're all connected. So I'll go just a bit of a tangent. I find that fascinating because like what that means for me is just that on a cognitive level, people were able to feel, cognize, whatever you want to call it, like physics, before we had instruments that could then document and prove it, to like the quality control degree that we want now, right? So a bit of a tangent. Self. So
what is this external thing? Well, I guess it's not external, but just this thing that doesn't get affected by external events.
That is the true self.
And where does it come from? Where does it stay? Where does it?
So, where does it come from? I don't know. Where does it stay? I don't know. I do not know. The thing is, as the theory goes, if I say this, I feel like there will be more confusion. I do not know is the short answer. I do not know. There's a scientist called Nassim Haramein, and he says that consciousness, in a specific definition, which is like that it's omnipresent, that, am I close enough to the mic?
If you could just tilt it a little bit so that the top is facing your mouth.
Like this?
Yeah, but also a little angled so it doesn't pop, but Yeah,
Like,
basically that's perfect. That's
yeah?
perfect.
Okay. He says that if we look at consciousness as like being omnipresent, as being in everything, then you could say that it originates in the empty space of atoms, right? And it was a fascinating talk by him. I'm not going to try and like paraphrase more because I don't remember all of it that correctly. But I believe that in some way, the true self is that empty space. And I believe that that other self that you describe very well actually is our personality. It's what happens when a human being gets identified with the mind, and when the mind then conjures up this avatar, this munchkin, this mental image of who that person really is. So there is a manufactured self, and there is a true self.
On the true self, honestly, I'm gonna go with I don't know.
Yes. That is the most honest answer that you can give, because I don't know either.
Yeah. But have you seen Soul, this new Pixar movie? So, I mean, by the time this comes out, it would have been a while. But I watched it recently, like last week, and Jonathan introduced me actually to it on one of the first episodes of the podcast. And anyway, I watched it, and that shit was heavy.
Yeah.
Like, I think Pixar is one of the few companies that makes really great movies, and this is one of the greatest they've ever made. I think at some point during every Pixar movie, for as long as I've been a teenager and older, I've cried.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah. Like, it's just
Sincere.
a cartoon. But, like, Soul, I think, deserves Best Picture this year. Like, it's so beautiful. And in that, there's literally little souls that get formed before you're even born. That, to me, the idea of how they formulated that was beautiful. And then you just live, and the whole point of you living is for you to explore this external world.
Yeah. That's something that I came to through... It's funny, I was reading a lot of different books before, like 4 or 5 weeks ago. And now I'm just reading 3. And it's like, I've read all 3 of them twice, and now I'm reading all of them the 3rd time. And it's by a guy called Kapil Gupta. And he just talks about truth. That's his, like, how he markets it, or how he says it. And one of the things that he talks about life specifically, which is in line with what you just said, to explore, is that life is something that is to be experienced. Life is not something that you have to make something out of, or that you have to take something from, or that you have to wait until it gives something to you. Life is... It's like a massive sandbox. And it's the sand, and it's the box, and it's the toys that you have in it. And you can put and make stuff. And what you make is not right or wrong. What you make is not good or bad. And there is no should. There is no you should make this or you shouldn't make that. And there is no you need to make this or you need to make that. It is a completely open, infinite, fun playground for you to do what you truly want to. Obviously, first ask the question.
I mean, first of all, I think this is eventually just going to turn into more of a discussion than coaching, if you're okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with it. This to me
Totally
is quite
fine.
fun.
Yeah.
But is there no should, though, really? Because, I mean, I shouldn't kill someone in the street right now. I can, but I shouldn't because of the consequences.
See, this is always the argument that people bring. You don't not kill someone because you shouldn't. You only don't kill someone because it's in your nature.
Well, of course, it's my nature.
You don't kill because it's in your nature.
I don't kill because
Yes,
it's my nature.
you don't kill because it's in your nature not to. If I put a gun in your hand, you wouldn't kill anybody.
Oh, yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
For sure.
No.
I don't need a gun on my head.
No, you
I
wouldn't.
just need the consequences to be removed.
I think that you say that because that's a story that you have attached to the mental image of who Roham is. And I think that it's more the dictator or the constitutional monarch talking than the true Roham right now. Because, yeah, it's... we don't not do things because of this should or should not in a certain way. Yes, I agree that we don't loot and like steal because the police is there and things like that. Let me clarify the should or should not thing. Should or should not is a social, a societal creation.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that a man or a woman thought up at some point. And if you want to get to what there truly is, like what the truth is, then really there is no should or should not. There is no should or should not in nature, for example.
Oh, definitely. But then we wrote down, those men and women over time wrote these laws, whether quite literally in text or just culturally, because when you start killing, eventually you don't have a safe society to live in, or if you're if you're stealing or if you're raping, or it's just that these shoulds are born out of the consequences of a lack of should and should not.
I would disagree. I think these laws are created or were created due to a disconnect from our true nature.
Really?
Yeah.
But what is our true nature in this context?
The true self that we don't know.
So even, let's go back on 100,000 years. Even the person running in some, I don't know, on a field and hunting. Even that's not what really the nature is, in your opinion.
To be very truthful, I don't know for sure. I think our nature and our self is something that can't really be intellectually defined.
So we're too stupid for it, basically. Okay.
Our mind is too stupid to grasp it.
I mean, basically, what we've done for the past however many thousands of years is to, aside from the survival stuff, whenever we have some extra time and extra resources on our hand, it's to ponder this answer. Whether it's through religion and Christianity, Judaism, Islam, whatever, or now through whatever other means that we have, hell, even atheism. It's like you're basically spending all your resources to worship what you think is the source of all this, whether it's Jesus and God, or whatever other answer you found. So
yeah,
maybe you're right. Maybe it is actually too beyond our mortal minds to comprehend.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I believe that, and I think that that's why it's really important to. I find this really difficult to explain. You need to experience, or you don't need to do anything, but it can be experienced. And by experienced, do you remember when we were talking in on that evening where we were at George's?
Oh yeah.
and you told me that like you felt like you were throwing up your emotions.
Yeah.
That's what I mean with experience, because you felt that in your body.
That was one of the strongest experiences I've had.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. That's what I mean by experienced. And in order to, there some conditions must be met in order to make an experience. I think in order to make the experiencing of something like that possible. The person that wants to experience that needs to cultivate a level of openness within themselves and willingness to experience within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then things like true nature, things like consciousness, things like that emotional throwing up, things like intense inner emotional work can happen. Yeah, but you first need to cultivate a certain environment for it to happen. So what did I want to say with that? Our true nature, I think, but I do not know, it can be experienced. Not intellectually, but felt.
And what's the best way to cultivate that environment to get there?
Wow.
Because I mean, today is 420.
Yeah.
And it's a big day in pop culture on people who like to consume drugs. It's also my dad's birthday and my cousin's birthday and Hitler's birthday, which is a very weird coincidence of history. It's kind of weird to have your dad's birthday be the same as Hitler's birthday, and that's being 420, which is such a big thing in pop culture these days.
What a crazy day.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's wild. I didn't even know all that. So I'm really happy you asked that question. I've probably tried nearly everything that there is out there that people claim can, get you closer to that. Mm-hmm. I've tried yoga, meditation for years. I've tried almost like most psychedelics. I've tried most drugs. I've tried. I've lived. I've lived a. How do you say that? In like. With a really big variety of different types of people. And I've had conversations with a lot of different people, deep conversations. What, in my experience, has been by best, what do you actually mean? Define best a little bit, because there are options that you have. If you want something with drugs, it's as follows. Drugs are like, you take it, and let's say you're in a video game, okay? So you're at level 1, and you take LSD, you get bombarded to level 50, okay? You're at the end game content immediately, and you're like, holy shit, this is insane. This is how it really is.
Is that from experience?
This is from experience. This is how it really is. Like all these things are going on, everything is synchronized, like everything makes sense, blah blah blah. When the drug wears off, you go douche back to level 1. And now, this is why drugs are a little bit problematic and why they're addictive. Because without the tools to gap that level 1 to 50 distance from, going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, you're only ever going to feel that distance between level 1 and level 15. That's really demotivating, So drugs can be used as a teaser of like, wow, this is possible in some variations. So it's not like if you progress spiritually, you're always going to be high, as in like, oh, I can't concentrate and I always feel like a certain way. That's not really how it is. There are a lot of similarities between spiritual experiences and drug experiences, but there are some variations too. Because what I think drugs do is they just flatten the mind so that experientially you can take in, what life really is. Okay? Do you follow me?
Yes.
Okay, so if you want something that is like permanently transforming, if you want something that actually transforms your perception to different states, right? If you want to grow your perception or change your perception, then I recommend that you do something like yoga. And specifically, this is important, I don't mean fucking hot acro yoga, okay?
Is that bullshit? Is that another thing?
If you want to get physically fit, okay, you do it. I have nothing. It's not a good or a bad thing. I have nothing against that. But it's not, in my experience, it's not something that will make you grow spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to grow spiritually, you need to do a very specific spiritual practice type yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the type of yoga that has been passed down for thousands of generations from master to master.
Yeah.
And one example that you will be familiar with is Sadhguru.
Mm-hmm.
If you learn one of the yoga practices from that guy, called the one that I'm doing is Shambhavi Mahamudra,
Mm-hmm.
this will progress you. And this will baby step.
Say the name again.
Shambhavi Mahamudra.
Okay.
This will progress you in little steps, but you will keep those steps. Okay? So it will make it permanently. And it will do it in a rhythm, at a pace that is very easily integratable in your daily life, you know? Because again, if you would be enlightened tomorrow, that would be fucking overwhelming. You would think you're going crazy. But if you go 1% enlightenment, 2% enlightenment, 3, 4, 5, it's more manageable. Okay? I'm oversimplifying the process now and speaking in terms of enlightenment just as like a bar that you fill.
And by enlightenment, you classify
spiritual maximum, you know? Like
okay.
you're the max level in the game. Okay? You're level 100. 100 out of 100.
Would you be able to give an example of someone who...
Sadhguru.
Really, you think?
I think Sadhguru. I think Sadhguru. Amma is another spiritual leader.
But only on the spiritual level, basically.
Well, yeah. On what other level are we talking about?
That's very actually interesting. I mean, not directly related, but it's like I don't know. I don't know how I like to judge humans, but I do judge humans quite a lot, including myself, of course. But I judge humans a lot.
Why?
Because I'm a perfectionist.
And where do you get this idea of perfection from?
It's just here. It's just something tells me, like gut feeling, honestly, pure gut feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's often wrong, especially when I'm designing stuff, for example, but there's just something here that tells me, okay, this is the right thing. I don't know where it comes from.
The right thing for what?
It depends on the context. If it's, it's literal technological, like a detailed technical thing, different story.
Mm-hmm.
If it's regarding religion, different story. If it's regarding politics, different story. But there's always some feeling that I either manage to debunk or it just becomes over time a value. It's either one of those two.
Yeah, interesting. Something that helped me free myself of this judgment game is to realize that there is no hierarchy of importance among human beings.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hierarchy of importance. Not competence.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Do
Sure.
you agree with competence?
Well, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously,
Good.
there is
You're
a
not
level.
You're not a communist. That's
No,
good.
obviously there is a level of a difference in skill, because someone may have cultivated a skill for longer than the other, but that doesn't make them more important than the one that has no skill. If you have your skill bar 300 out of 300, then that is all there is. That simply is. You have 300 skill. That doesn't make you better or worse than anybody else.
So even people like Sadhguru, who you say have
Yes.
reach level 100 of.
He's no better than anybody. And he will tell you this. He's no better or worse than anybody. You need to come to this realization, in my opinion, that you are no better or worse than anybody in order to get to spirituality level 100. It's not possible. This is one of the milestones. You need to eventually, I don't know for sure, but I believe that one of the milestones you need to cross over is to be able to let go of your ego, of your mental self. Interesting synchronicity. You need to be able to let go of your mental self in order to progress further at some point. It's really interesting, actually. It's literally like, yeah, it's kind of like in a game. In order to move on to the next, did you ever play WoW? Did you ever play World of Warcraft? Or like an MMORPG? But you get it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, an MMORPG, just for the people, it's a massive MMO, massive multiplayer online, it's like a massive multiplayer online open world game, okay?
Actually, yeah, I forgot the actual word.
I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's like a lot of people in a digital world. And basically, you level, and then you can move on to different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very similar, I think, in spirituality, that you need to get to certain levels in order to move on. And one of the benchmarks you need to clear is this one. That there is no hierarchy of importance among human beings. There is no good or bad. There is no right or wrong. What is this in its most fundamental essence? It's again going back to this, and follow me here. Try to follow me here. This might be a bit weird, but try to follow. Before we said, like, the yogis had this concept, we are all one. What am I really doing by saying there is no right or wrong? There is no good or bad. There is no, up, down. I'm removing duality.
Because there's nothing else to measure with. Is that why you're saying there's no good or bad?
Well, it's not measuring. It's like I'm unifying. Do you see that? I'm unifying it. Because without bad, there is no good. And this actually comes back to a point I wanted to make earlier when you were talking about the struggles in your life. Without bad, there is no good. By feeling good, you create the equal reaction of feeling bad.
Okay.
Why? And why? Because
wait.
Yeah, tell me.
Just, are you sure on that last point? By doing good, you're creating the equal feeling of
Yes.
feeling bad.
Yes.
Because you can make other people feel good,
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily add suffering to the world, to yourself, or to the other.
You can't make anybody feel good. You can't make anybody feel good. You can do something, and then people can react to it in a certain way. But that reaction is always within them.
Okay.
So really, we're always making ourselves feel good or bad. Other people are just like triggers to that. In reality, it's all internal. It's all inside of you. Whatever reaction you have to anything is internal.
Okay.
So, and this thing of like, without good, you don't create bad. This is how the mind works. The mind, and I've learned this recently, the mind is kind of like a scale. So let's say on the right side of my right hand is good and my left hand is bad. Mm-hmm. So now I'm feeling good. Okay? Oh, so the good side is heavy. Oh yeah, nice. Now I feel good. But inevitably it will balance out. So now I'm feeling bad. And up, and now it's balanced again. The mind will inevitably, like a sine wave, go down and then up again. And then down and then up again. And then down and then up again. Inevitably. So, this was wild when I read this in this book from Kapil Gupta. This was wild. If you live your life through your mind, that will be your life. You will go from good to bad to good to bad to good to bad to good to bad to good to bad until you die.
That's exactly how I live.
Because that is exactly how everyone is living.
You know this up and down scale that you
Yes.
just showed. This Friday, I think it was, I was feeling 150%. I was feeling one of the best days of, for as long as I can remember. And I was encouraged to actually like make a mood map
Yeah.
on my iPad,
Wow, that's so interesting.
which literally is exactly as you
Yeah.
followed. Today it's on like 90.
Yeah.
And some days it's at 50. Some days that's but that's how I
That-
actually see the world.
Yes, and that's because you're living through the mind. And once more, this is not a good or a bad thing. Don't judge yourself now.
Okay.
Don't judge yourself. Because first of all, you're not alone. Second of all, it's not a good or a bad thing. It's not right or wrong either. It just is. It's like you're wearing a specific type of glasses, and everything looks red because the glasses are colored red. That is all. Okay? And why can I say this? Because I was also living like that. Sometimes I still slide back into that. Okay? It also happens to me. It happens to everybody. When I read that, I was like, God damn. That is a fucking rat race. That is an endless cycle. That is an endless up and down boring cycle. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to continue just going from one up to another down and from one down to another up. So what is the argument that this Kapil Gupta guy makes in his book? He says this. He says, in order, and I'm paraphrasing now, he says, in order to really experience life for what it is, not through the lens of your mind, you need to let go. You need to let go of your mind. And now listen. And now all the alarm bells and everybody's head is going off. What? Lose my mind? But then I'm going to be crazy. I understand. And that is a normal reaction. And that is the mind being scared. That is the fear response of the mind being like, hey, no, I don't want to let go. Blah, blah, blah. Have you ever heard someone say the mind is a great employee but a very cruel master?
Oh, it's the cruelest of
It is the cruelest of masters. It's a motherfucker. It is a real motherfucker. It's a master. And I think you have a question.
Yes.
Tell me.
Letting go.
Yes.
I can't let go, man. I'm really,
Yes.
including this very question
Yes.
I've been keeping since the first time you said letting go like 20 minutes ago.
Yes, yes.
I can't let go of anything. That's
So
my
many.
problem.
I understand. I so understand. That is everybody's problem. Mine included. Mine included, man. Fuck. That is really, really the thing. What to do about this? First of all, do not judge yourself for not being able to let go. And go take it one step further. It's okay not to want to let go. That's okay. It's all right to not even want to let go of something, even though we know it's whatever, whatever it is. That's okay. That's okay. I think I know it from myself that when I came to this realization that I suck at letting go, I started to analyze it, and I was like, of some things that are in air quotes bad for me, I don't even want to let them go. It's okay. Yeah. It's really, we are attached to things that are bad for us, in air quotes. We are attached to our trifles and our nonsense because they've been with us for so long that we think it's us. And then the thought of letting go, we become afraid because we think if we let that go, where will I be? So you follow me here?
Yes.
It's like a survival thing, actually. This is what I got to. It's actually a survival question. In somewhere deep, deep, deep down, you think if you let go of this stuff, you're gonna die. Because you're going to be like, and not physical, like, oh my God, like I'm going to fall
Yeah,
over
but
and have a heart
a
attack.
part of me will.
But you, the self, in air quotes, the manufactured self that you think you truly are, that will die. So you're afraid you will go into non-existence. And that's fucking frightening. Because what? I don't want to non-exist. Fuck that. If the choice is between not existing or existing with the struggle, I'll take the struggle. Because I can get used to the struggle and I've lived with it for so long anyway, so I might as well just continue with it. Because at least I know it. Okay?
Fuck, man.
Yeah. I know. Okay, I've literally gone, trust me, bro, like I know, trust me, I know. I've been through this. I've contemplated this in my dark room alone, being like, what the fuck is happening, dude? It's a wild journey. It's a wild journey. Anyway, do you have any questions, first of all? Is there something that you want? Is there something that is on your mind? Like, yeah, tell me.
No, I'm just coming to agree
Hmm.
that there are these things that I actually think are a part of me, but we're not even there for a long time. We're literally like got there over the past, in my teenage years even, that eventually became a part of my personality. And then whenever I entered a new society, a new group, I started once again identifying myself through those. One of them is just knowing things, knowing random facts, right? Like, I really, really noticed this during this 1 week trip I had like a week ago. And I was traveling with Ricardo, our friend, and Jordan.
I know Jordan, the guy with the tattoos.
Yeah. So
cool.
Jordan, I literally didn't have like any form of conversation, actually, nothing in depth, until the day we were flying to Malaga, to my house. With Ricardo as well, like we never
Never really bonded, yeah.
Yeah, never had that many deep conversations or anything. We had interesting conversations about things that, these facts, these topics that I like to research and like to read about, and I enjoy. So I'm not judging myself for that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I realized after a point, I started gasping. After in these few days, eventually I started gasping for new things to dig out of my mind. These new facts that would make me more interesting to these people that I'm traveling with. That really was like, oh shit.
Wow. Wow, man. First of all, I so appreciate your honesty. I so appreciate that you just literally opened up and said that truthfully.
Okay, if you want
Respect,
more honesty,
man.
sometimes I just end up bullshitting because I can't find anything. Yeah.
Dude,
Like,
I love that. Thank you again. And first of all, you're definitely not alone. There definitely, we all have our little personality that we all have our little manufactured self that we then feel the need to defend and bolster up, and make interesting, and then when somebody calls that manufactured self not interesting, we try to defend it, and then we come up with blah 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 blah, all in the effort to maintain this mask, this manufactured mask, which we think, and the core realization now, that's really important. And I don't know if this is something you will immediately understand. I don't know if this is something that I got to this realization because I was in so much pain. I was in so much emotional pain that I was like, man, fuck this. Like, fuck this person. Like, fuck this self. I had gone through so many downs that I was like, fuck this, dude, Sure, it was a long time coming because I was interested in this. And like, yeah, I had kind of let go of the self here and there. But the real turning point was like, this Carl was feeling so much pain that I didn't want to deal with it anymore, okay? Now that kind of, yeah, okay, so that is not supposed to sound like suppression. So if some people think now, okay, so you can just get rid of all of your pain and all this stuff. No, It's not about then just suppressing it and ignoring it. That's not what I'm saying.
That's, by the way, how I see drugs.
Yes.
Just a tool to suppress.
Yes. That's how a lot of people use it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how a lot of people use it.
Exactly.
100%. And that's how I used weed, for example. I smoked weed for a significant period of time. That's how I used it, as avoidance. Because internally, I was in too much pain to deal with it. 100%. And that's why people use alcohol too. And the one thing that people will tell you actually is like when they drink alcohol, they feel like there are less like barriers, or they feel like they can just be more. That's because in their sober state, they're under the thumb of their fucking mind. Okay, they're enslaved right now.
Of this image of who this person is supposed to be.
Yes. And the thing is, with this image, it's limiting, which is why people say, I feel boxed in. Okay? And when I drink alcohol, I feel more flowy. I feel like I can just be myself, and my emotions are not inhibited, and you know what I mean? I can be more confident, I can be more, because then your mind, it's kind of like you give your it's kind of like your mind is like a beast, okay, like a dog that's keeping you in a corner. You know, it's like a rabid dog. And when you drink, the dog goes to bed. And then you can move around in your garden. So I also understand completely why people are so hooked on the shit, and why they say, why if you come to them, bro, meditate and give it up, they're like, fuck no, bro. No way. I can only truly really be myself when I have this stuff. Okay, I get it. I was there. Okay? You are not actually that manufactured self. You are not actually those things that you think you are. Therefore, the fear you have that is attached to letting go of those things is a hallucination. And that's not a good or a bad thing. I'm not judging. I'm not being like, you're crazy, bro. Blah. I'm not telling that to anybody. Okay? It feels so real when you're in it. I know. It feels so real. But it isn't. And that's amazing. That's actually amazing. Because that means, bit by bit, I'm not saying everything at once. You don't need to give up we don't need to give all of our little shits all at once. You can give up the smallest one that you don't actually like that much even first. You can baby step yourself into this. No one's telling you to jump in the cold water head first. Anyway, sorry. You can start slowly, bit by bit, letting go of the tiniest 0.00 whatever % you're comfortable with, and just see what happens. You know, baby step yourself into it. Small. And practice letting go. See how you feel. See what happens. Don't take my word for it, just see what happens internally. I'm also not trying to convince you, or anybody that's listening to do anything. Not at all. I'm just sharing the observation. Yeah, it's pure. Exactly. I couldn't have said it better. It's purely what happened to me. Purely what happened to me in my life. Mm-hmm. That's it. And I'm just sharing that. Sharing the learnings that I had from it. That is it. You don't need to or should do anything with this. It's whatever. It's exactly what you want to do with it that you can. I can only talk about what it gave me. It gave me internal freedom. It gave me the real me.
This is what I want to touch on actually.
Yeah, go for it.
What does it feel like? Like deep down, what does it feel like to have this freedom, be your true you?
Oh my God, so light. It's not as if you're like ecstasy. You know, it's not even like that. It's not as if you let go of this stuff and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I'm in La La Land. It's like a fresh summer breeze. It's so light. It's like a weight got lifted off your shoulders and you feel lighter in your body. Like your whole body feels lighter. And when you're talking with people, you don't think. You don't think about what you're going to say, and you're not afraid that what you're going to say is going to sound stupid and what they're going to think about you, but you just say something and people laugh, and you get the reactions that you've always wanted, and you meet the people that you've always wanted to, and you do the things that you've always wanted to.
But it doesn't define you.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're never, that's the beauty of it. You're not attached to it. You're not like, it's like you're living your best life, but if you wouldn't be, it would also be totally cool. You know, it's like being fully engaged, but not attached. You're living all of the things you wanted to, but if they wouldn't be there the next day, you would still be just as great.
And doesn't this balance out over time?
Great question, because now you're asking, but isn't all of this still through the lens of the mind?
Of course.
Fantastic question. Fantastic question. It isn't. It isn't through the lens of the mind. And now listen to this. In order to get to this place, I had to let go of being happy. And now wait, what the fuck? What you just described to me sounds like you're super happy. You know, like, what do you mean, living my best life? I'd be so happy. Once again, when you create happiness, you create misery. That's when that's it. Huh?
Fuck's sake, Carl.
Yeah, I know. It's a rough one. And don't think that, like, now people will be like, but then I'm not going to do it, because I'd rather have happiness and sadness rather than having nothing, because then I'd just have nothing and it'd be like, you know, really shitty. It'd just be neutrality, you know, as if I would just be like a stone. You know, that's at least what I thought initially. I was like, if I let go of happiness, I'll just be like, if I let go of the up and down, I'll just be a rock. I'll be nothing. Ironically, that's also not actually what happened. You gain something that a lot of people call blissfulness. I would describe it like you gain a mixture of things. You gain peace, and you gain joy, but you gain real joy. Where before, when I felt happy beforehand, it was like something external happened to me, and then an automatic program ran off in my subconscious. Now I'm supposed to feel happy, and then I felt happy. So, and then when something bad happened, now I'm supposed to feel bad, and then I felt bad. That's super inauthentic.
Oh my god, dude, this just triggered some random memory in my head. Well, not very random, but like, I remember the day my grandpa died. I remember, I mean, he was sick for a few months, so we knew it's gonna happen eventually. I was quite young. I think it was 11. Anyway, I remember I was just eating breakfast, and then my dad got a phone call. He sounded very concerned. Went out to the balcony and was talking on his phone, and then came back, sat on the couch, and started crying. And that was the first time I'd ever heard or seen my dad cry. And I remember I asked him what happened, and he was like, "Oh, Grandpa died." And I didn't, my first instinct wasn't to cry. I don't even remember feeling particularly sad. You know when there's like a moment that something sudden happens, when like someone breaks a glass or something, and something just zips through your body, just from
Yes.
electric zip down to top.
Yes.
That's what I felt,
Mm-hmm.
but not deep sadness for the next few hours. But I still forced myself to cry.
Because you thought
That's
the reaction I'm supposed to have.
Yes.
Yeah. Roham, thank you. I must really say, like, it's not possible to have conversations like this unless there is a willingness to be open and truthful. And I'm really appreciating the fact that you're being open and truthful. So thank you. Really. Yes, 100%. And that reaction, in a non-judgmental way, it's not good or bad, it's not anything, it's not right or wrong, it simply is inauthentic. It's not good or bad, the fact that that was inauthentic. But because you had that thing and you were like, I'm supposed to cry now. That is how I guarantee it, the majority of people, and how it was for me, how every single fucking reaction is. And it's just that you noticed that it was rehearsed because you hadn't been. I'm guessing that was the first time that one of your was that one of the first times that someone in your family died?
Yes, and I have a follow-up to that actually. Really.
So it was one of the first times that situation happened.
Exactly. So like a few hours later, my parents had to go to the hospital and take care of the stuff, the legal stuff. So I went to my mom's aunt's house, who I basically grew up with, like in terms of my childhood. Whenever whenever the average kid goes to their grandparents, I went to their house because they lived nearby and my grandparents lived in another city. But anyway, I went there and I remember a few hours after this happened, and I guess at least subconsciously digested it. I started feeling this thing in my stomach. It's like, oh, what is this thing? Why am I'm not supposed to feel this way? Why does it feel this way? I was just literally playing video games and eating. Like as if nothing had happened, and then this feeling just started getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And after a few hours, I couldn't handle it anymore. So I couldn't even play video games because I was sad. And I didn't know what that means. So I went to the other room and I was just talking to my mom's aunt. I was like, what is this feeling? She was like, hey, you're sad. I was like, holy shit. That I didn't choose.
Yeah.
I chose to, a few hours ago, force myself to cry.
Yes.
Run upstairs and sound like I'm crying.
Yeah.
But this is what it actually feels like to lose someone and feel it.
And that was an authentic reaction.
Okay, you're convincing me. You're
go-
convincing me
yeah.
that there's more to self than...
But once again, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. The thing I would say is like you're coming to realize and feel within yourself and experience that maybe there is something to this. That was an authentic reaction then. That's beautiful, man. Wow. Or that isn't beautiful or anything, but yeah, thanks for sharing that.
It wasn't beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where were we? Where did we...
I don't remember.
Okay then, I'm gonna ask something else. Why are you so grateful?
Oh. Whoa. I wouldn't even say I'm that grateful.
Oh, you're very, like... I mean, I say thank you a lot, and I also say sorry a lot, but that's another story. I say thank you a lot just because...
It's
I
like
guess-
one of those things again.
Yeah, it's something that I should do. Yeah?
It's and what is that? I haven't been able to really create like a good, clean fucking metaphor for this, but it's like the mind is a computer. And it's like you it's like you fuck man, how? It's like these things we practice them a couple times and then it runs automatically. Huh? Do you follow?
Yeah.
And the majority of people, and myself also, in many ways, I'm sure I still am like this, are running completely on automatic programming. Okay?
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah, yes, most of the time, 100%. Except in those moments where we say like, wow, that was one of the most amazing moments of my life. Wow, I was in flow state. Or wow, this and this happened and like my first kiss. Or, you know what I'm saying? Where something external is so new and so out of the ordinary that we are forced into authenticity. Okay? I personally don't want it to be like that. I want to turn that around. I want to live authentically and feel the things in that intensity when I'm washing the dishes. When I'm doing this, when I'm just feeling the way my thumb and index finger feel rubbing against each other. What an insane sensation. How weird is that? I want to experience life authentically, truthfully. I don't want to experience life through a condom. I'm not trying to make a sexual reference, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like when you're in your mind, you have this rubber condom on and you're walking through life and it's like, oh, you're edging on. I can't really move freely. I can't really breathe. Everything is kind of like annoying and a struggle. I don't want to live like that.
The name of the company that you work in and the university that you study.
Exactly.
Hot model that you fucking, all of these, or how much money you have.
Yes, exactly. And all of that is this collaged, manufactured self-suit that we wear every day. You wake up and and I'm sure this is why I talked about doing things very early in the morning. Because there your mind is in a state that it's like still kind of sleepy. And just when you're waking up, I'm sure you feel a bit different, don't you?
It's incredible.
Right? You feel somehow a bit different. And then you get more awake. And then sometimes it's like something happens in your mind, like and then
it starts going to...
And then it starts happening. And then the programs start running.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain level of awakeness, wait, now I'm here, and now click. It's like in a movie, like in Harry Potter, for example. Did you watch Harry Potter?
No.
Okay,
no.
Whatever. It's like when they're like, imagine a huge door and a lot of locks. It's like clink, clink. Okay, It's like all of those locks get in, and now I have my manufactured self-suit on again. Yeah, man. And I just don't feel like living like that anymore. Personally, I'm not a fan of it anymore. And that's not a good or bad thing. I'm not trying to tell anybody to do anything. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it or whatever. It's just that for me personally, I came to the decision that you know what, I've lived like this for the last, I don't know, man. I'm 24 now. For the last, let's say, 24 years for the sake of it, but probably not, because when I was a kid, I probably didn't. So let's say 14 years. For the last 14 years, I've lived like this. This fucking sucked. Not all of it was bad, because I had beautiful moments too, but I'm down to try something new. Let's just say that. And I'm kind of talking about it, making it seem like you're gonna jump off a cliff and there is no way back. That's not even true. Right now, I'm in this point where I'm understanding that I can now kind of take this self-suit off, but it still happens that I slip into the self-suit, because I've done that for so long that that's still my automatic programming. So it's kind of like a retraining. I have to retrain, and I'm sure from what I've learned about psychoneurology and neurochemistry and neurobiology, that this is actually, I'm sure that right now there are neurological pathways in my brain that are rewiring. Just to illustrate that point, our thoughts and emotions have impacts on our neurobiology, okay? And there have been studies by Harvard that showed that people with I'm going to highlight an extreme now, just so people really understand that this actually is a reality. People who've had childhood traumatic experiences are more likely to suffer from autoimmune diseases, are more likely to suffer from to have cancer. This is a very extreme form where very, very intense emotional and mentally straining experiences have literal effects on your body. There's another thing called bioenergetics. What is that, or what is a part of it? I haven't done that much research into it, so if there are any bioenergetics specialists out there, then forgive me. One of the things that they talk about there is that we store emotions in our body. And how does that look like? That's neurotic holding patterns. So if it's like tension, hypertension, for example. If you've had a stressful childhood, it can be that, or for example, let's take our lower stomach. All of us, or a lot of people, are insecure about their weight, their lower stomach, okay? So we pull in I also do this. I pull in my lower stomach in order to not seem fat, so other people won't judge me, okay? Because I'm insecure about my weight, okay, right? Now this is an emotional insecurity that is manifesting itself in a physical reaction. And if that goes on for too long, these things can literally cause cancer. Okay, so one more time, what am I trying to recap? Our thoughts and emotions have an impact on our biology.
Yes.
And I came from where that I was saying I have to retrain myself to take off this old self suit. And what did I say after that? Right now that I'm doing that, I'm sure that there are neurological pathways in my brain that are reforming. Okay, that's the only thing. I just wanted to ground that statement that I was making in science. Okay, so, and now to the very original point that I was worried about initially, so I think some other people might be worried about it too. So they're like, okay, I have to give up my old self immediately, like 100% immediately, and I'll be new, and that's scary. Yeah, that's scary. And that's not how it's going to work. Okay, the way I'm going through it right now is like I took a shoe off. Okay, let's say it's like a full dress suit. I take a shoe off, and then the next day I wake up with the shoe again. Okay, it's kind of like that. You have to let go of that self and parts of that self over and over and over again until you really are able to let it go for a significant period of time. So it's not like you're gonna and be naked. It's not like that. It's not like a shock experience like that.
Keep peeling off.
You keep on doing it. It's a process. It's a process. And sometimes I think that sucks, because sometimes I wish I could literally just throw the damn thing into the trash can. And sometimes I think it's good, because it's like a period of adjustment. I can do it on my own terms. I can do it in my own time. Okay? And then really the question that I think everybody should just ask themselves is like, for how much longer do you want to live like that? For how much longer do you want to live in the proverbial, manufactured self condom? Whatever your answer is, your deal. I'm not trying to say you have to do it now or you have to do it quicker or slower. It's just a question I think that everybody should ask themselves. For how long do I want to live and experience life through this lens that in some ways we could call inauthenticity? For how long do I want to do that? The choice is up to you. It's your life. You can decide. If you want to live like that for the rest of your life, okay. No, I won't judge you. You can do that. It's your freedom. That's like the freedom of choice, That's all.
Regarding that cancer thing,
yeah.
I don't want to go into too much detail because it's other people's lives, but
yeah,
the people around me who ended up getting seriously ill were the people who did just what you described, who kept it in.
Yes! Yes! Oh my fucking God, yes, dude.
Yeah.
Because it's... And I'm not just hallucinating. Guys, I've done a little bit of research here, okay? I'm starting to ground these things that I had an intuition for initially. Now I'm grounding them in science. There are studies about this. This is a fact.
I mean, for me, it's
yes.
just, it's not the, it doesn't follow the scientific method, but I've seen it in my life.
In that personal experience, for sure. But there are studies that follow the scientific method, just to clearly outline that. And I find that interesting, because immediately there is a connection that you had where you saw that too. These things aren't that far-fetched. We just need to look around and observe them. It's oftentimes people that keep it in like that. People that then use food, for example. Food as an escape mechanism. You can use food just like some people use weed or alcohol. There are so many escape. Video games. That's the best one for me personally. I'm still, I'm still gaming. Jesus Christ, I've been gaming since I'm 12. That's 12 years of my life that I've been playing video games. And I started because I wanted to escape my shitty reality. I wanted to escape the emotional pain I was feeling. So I know about escapism.
I'm definitely in that camp.
Yeah. Bro, in some ways, I think all of us are. Because for some reason, I don't even know why. To be honest, now that I think about it, like, why? Because like, why are we even doing this? Because looking at the emotional pain and all of the stuff that you have inside, it's not actually that bad. It's not even that bad. Like, yeah, it sucks sometimes. Yeah, it's painful. Well, so what? That for if you say, okay, I'm going to be a bit uncomfortable sometimes, and there are some things that I have to look at that are going to make me a bit sad, in exchange for an actually truly authentic life experience. But okay, I mean, that's not even. That's cool. That's like better than a buy one get one free meal at Sainsbury's, you know? Like, that's good. That's a good deal. It's a damn good deal. And I'm really happy that I'm doing it now when I'm relatively young, because like when you're young, you have your stuff to deal with. Yeah, everybody has stuff to deal with. And if you're more sensitive, if you're like a more sensitive person emotionally, you're going to have a bit more stuff to deal with, because there's a bit more things that are impressioned on you. And I'm one of those people. I'm a hypersensitive person emotionally, so I have a bit more stuff to deal with than I think like the majority of people. But still, it's actually not that bad. It's not that bad, really. Yeah. And the joy, the true. Let's not even say joy. The you actually start living. I like, that's how I would describe it for myself. I've actually started living. Where before I don't even know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That's exactly.
It's really weird, right? I don't even know what. It's like,
because I remember,
like, this talking about this makes my brain itch. Like, I've been like, I don't really even know. And why? I think that's because I was unconscious. That's why I don't. That's why I can't even put like a quantification on it, because I, the true I, wasn't really even there. It was all these automatic programs. Oh wow! This is the first time that I'm vocalizing this or thinking about it, actually. So yeah.
You know, now that you put it like this, in my own personal experience, I remember the first time I like properly meditated. Like properly, I pretended that I'm meditating at some point in my life. But the first time that it truly clicked for me, and it became another instinct basically for me.
Yes, wow.
That moment was like, okay, now my life has started. And I let go of it, but still the resonance, like at some points in my life I let go of it, but there's still the resonance of that unlocking. It's literally like you put a key and you unlock, and then the lock breaks. Yep. You can't close it back.
No, it's how it is.
Once it's out, it's out.
That's so, wow.
And you know what's funny? I feel like actually religion is a way of turning all of these things that we talk about, all this deep, very difficult to handle emotional stuff, into a process that you can basically automate. And the reason I hadn't unlocked that thing, you know, that gets unlocked with meditation, is probably because of the society that I was living in. And now when I go back and I see especially family members or whatever that are particularly religious, I'm like, there's something off with it, because they're supposed to be very spiritual, right?
But no. I so fucking resonate with what you're saying. Yeah. I think religion was meant to give humanity exactly that. But for some reason it's been systemized. It's been systemized so heavily that the actual magic, the actual like the actual life, it's been it's kind of like you hit too many dams into a river, and now the river's dried up.
Yep. So like, you know, the Islamic prayer, I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, well, I've probably seen it, but I don't know anything about it. Yeah, tell me.
Apparently, it actually originated from yoga. So, you know, I don't know.
Wow.
No one probably knows the real story, but
Mm.
at some point, these movements that were from yoga got involved into the, you know, culture of Muslims, and, you know, whether it was at the time of Muhammad or afterwards, whatever, who knows. Now, when you look at it, it's not fucking yoga. When you
No.
do yoga, you focus on every second that you breathe, on every action is intentional.
Presence.
When you're like, especially like for Iranians, for example, we don't speak Arabic, but we say our prayers in Arabic. So most of us don't even know. I mean, I don't practice, but most people who practice actively don't even know what the meaning of the words that they're saying. Or if they know
Yes.
the translation, they don't really know the meaning of what they're saying.
Yes.
They don't even know the meaning of the movements they're making. They just know that they're bowing at some point, but the rest of it, okay, why are you standing this way? Why are you standing? You don't even do the proper pose of what the fuck?
Man,
What
exactly.
happened there?
Exactly. And it's just the question of authentic or automatic programming. Because most of that and I don't want to judge now also. It's not that the fact that people are doing this and doing it automatically programmed is a bad thing.
I mean, I tend to judge religious people a lot, but I'm not judging religion at this point because I think
Yes.
there's a lot in it that can be great.
Good, yes.
If you really, really get past the automation. And
Yes,
dig
yes,
deep,
yes.
It can be.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's really hard for a book to last thousands of years. So what's in there is probably really, really cool.
Boom.
As long as you can get past the
Yeah.
automation.
As long as you can get past all of these systems that people have built for it. And it's Kapil Gupta says that, or I one of the messages I took from his books is like systems, people that follow how-tos and like 5 easy steps and do this and that, people that just follow those things for following them are insincere. They're not actually there. They're not actually authentic. They don't actually. It's just an automatic program. It's like you're just going through the motions. You're not even present. And then this stuff will not touch you. This will not touch your true self because your true self is not even at the party. It's not, your true self isn't even there, so how can it? You're just going through the motions, bro. It's like, I'm sure everybody knows this. It's like, you know this little kid that does these like, the nunchuk tricks with Bruce Lee in the background? Do you know that? This tiny Chinese kid who's doing like...
Karate Kid.
No, not Karate Kid, but there's a video. It's like a meme of a really...
Okay,
Okay, I don't mean to disrespect the kid. He's a fucking legend for sure. But that kid is going through the motions.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when he was training, he was super present and super authentic, etc., etc. But you will never... Like, just watching tapes and copying, unless you really like infuse that with yourself, with your true authenticity, with your true presence, you're only ever going to be going through the motions. You're only ever going to be copying. You're never going to be imbibing in like what it really means, like what it really means to live. That it kind of, I know that I kind of jumped back and forth, you know, Kung Fu. I was trying to illustrate a point. I don't think I did that great of a job at it. So I apologize if that confused people. I think the fazit or the learning that I had from this is really just, if I'm not willing to show up, then I'm never going to really live. And that makes me sad. Like, the idea of not ever really living, that makes me kind of sad. You know, that's like a thing, like I don't want that.
Especially when it's people that you love.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even like, dude, I'm not even taking it outside of myself yet, man. I'm not even thinking about other people. Right now, I'm literally just thinking about
my
like
arrogance.
Yeah.
Is that even though I'm not there yet,
yeah.
I judge in my head other people.
That's super normal though.
Oh,
that's super normal. We all have a habit for some reason. It's like we all have a habit to try and help other people before we really learned how to help ourselves. I had that too, 100%. I learned that I had that because that gave me, it was actually for self-gratification. Helping other people until a while back, where I realized that, was for my own selfish needs, because it gave my life meaning. I felt fulfilled when I was helping other people. It wasn't about them. It was about me wanting to feel good. And that's completely normal, what you just said, man. 100%. It's the same for a lot of people. And for the people, there are people that have gotten past that. There are people that are at that point and are honest enough with themselves to admit that. And then there are people that are lying to themselves and saying, no, that's not true, you know. And I'm not judging those people that are lying to themselves. I understand. It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
How do we, I want to say we, how does humanity, it's still kind of we, but bigger scale, how do we, okay, fuck it. How do we spread this? How do
now
we,
you're talking, bro.
Yeah, how
now
do
you're
we
talking.
get more people to be encouraged to live, to truly live like consciously and
Wow, man.
aware?
Wow. I don't know. I don't have a perfect plan laid out. Something I would like to help with that, though. I really would like to be of help with that. That I can help people, I can help humanity really like live, because man, this is a fucking wild fucking experience. Life. This is fucking wild. And it's a shame to not like be there. It's a shame. Not like shame on you, but like damn, you know, like I would really like it if people could do this. And look, the very first step is this. Learn to live yourself. First you do it. First I do it. That's why also I made that comment about I'm not even putting it on other people, because first I need to do it. First I need to really, really get to that point before I can even help anybody else. You know? And that's the first step, I think. And then we'll see. You know?
I kind of...
Maybe I wouldn't even give a how-to. Because let's say we give a how-to now. There will be that thing in people's minds that is just like, okay, how to. It's about, I think one core of it is also really wanting it. Really wanting it and understanding why do you really want it. Right? Both is necessary, I think. It's like, in order to really... It can't be one of those wants, like I want it because some guy in a podcast said it, or because I'm afraid of this, or because my mom told me to. No. I think in order to get to this point, this has to be a pure desire. This has to be a desire for the sake of itself. Like I want it in order to experience it. You know? And I think First, do you have a question?
You said desire, you know. I never watched this desire to be born. Now I know that it's there.
Yes!
I don't know where it was born.
Yes,
but
yes.
I can definitely relate, for example, Hannes' class
Mm.
to one of those things that contributed to this desire being born.
Exactly.
And I think, honestly, to avoid giving how-tos, this conversation is the best platform
Yeah.
for trying to ignite that in people. It's like, we never planned this. We just planned that at 5 o'clock we're going to start talking. I had like, I don't know, 10, 15 words worth of notes. But otherwise, this was, I think, almost 2 hours of conversation that just unfolded.
Yeah.
And it was recorded, and someone is going to listen to it, and someone is going to get something out of it.
Yeah.
So that's honestly, I even at some point thought that I'm not worthy to be doing this podcast, because who am I? And I still do sometimes feel that way.
Mm.
But at least I'm trying.
Yeah.
At least I'm trying to allow people to get something out of it, and if they do, then I might get something out of it, which is, whatever.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
I love that, man. That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you for trying.
Thank you for spreading the word.
Yeah.
The simulation theory. This is almost getting a joke on this podcast. So what I have this idea that I don't know how long it will take, but eventually at some point throughout the projects that, whatever companies that I end up starting, whatever projects I end up doing, I want at the end for there to be an inflection point where basically I want to create simulations. I want to create however many simulations, each of which are so real that you can't tell whether you're there or not, whether you're in the real world or not, by being there. I don't know what technology it will take, whatever. But I want people to basically be able to live in those simulations for 6 months, a year, 5 years, however long they choose to live.
Wow.
And they can switch, they can be in that world for 5 minutes and then switch to another one. They can live in ancient Rome, or they can live in the future, or they can live in the past, or they can live as hunter-gatherers. Personally, my favorite would be to live as a hunter-gatherer, actually. Is that, do you think, based on what we just talked about, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I love that you asked that question. To be honest, I don't think it's either. The question I want to ask you is why? Why do you want that?
Fear of missing out. Not fear of even missing out. Fear of, not even fear, I don't know.
It's okay if you, the thing is with this, like, maybe not even answer that right now, because I think that maybe that's the first time that you've asked yourself that question.
No, I actually, everyone asks why, so I constantly ask myself, try to answer this question.
Okay.
I don't have a real answer to it, I'll tell you that. The real answer would be because there's something in me that tells me this would be a very, very cool challenge to work on, and it would most likely have a positive impact on my life and the life of other people.
If I were you, I would continue digging in that feeling. And I mean specifically this challenge thing, like why do you want to achieve such a big challenge? Why do you want to have a positive impact on your life and other people?
Oh, okay, you're going that deep. You're going fundamental values.
No, you see, this is something I've started recently. It's like I've started to really question. Let's take the relationship thing again. Like that was something where it really helped me. It's like, why do I ask myself, why do I want to have relationships with more girls? Because it makes me feel good. Why do I want to feel good? Because I feel bad. Wait, and then it's like, wait, what?
Hold on a second.
Hold on a fucking second. I feel bad? Why do I feel bad? Because I like it. What? Why do I like feeling bad? Because I know it.
You know what?
Because I know. I am familiar with feeling bad. Huh? So all of the, like, what I'm trying to illustrate with this is that be aware of the root of your motivations. Not because then you say, oh, you're such a bad person because you're doing this for self-gratification or whatever. But at least be aware of it. Let's be honest. And when you told me to come on this podcast, like to do like a coaching thing, I actually thought about making a podcast where I do this, and I would call it "Let's Be Honest," because like that's really what this journey is about. This whole spiritual thing, man. That's what it's about. It's about being honest. It's about.
What do you define as spiritual? I'm sorry to cut you right there.
Wow. See, that's such a good question. And
Because
I would love to come up with a new word.
Exactly,
Because
so
spiritual is
negative-
so much
negative
shit
comments.
attached to it.
Yeah, yeah.
100%,
Like
man.
even I
Living.
think you're the only person that made me accept
Yeah.
the word spiritual even in a conversation.
I know
would
what
have
you mean,
completely
man.
rejected it.
Yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean. Because there is so much shit attached to it. I so understand. And if I would have to define spirituality, it's like really living.
Mhm.
Really living. Learning and understanding the things that you need to understand and learn about in order to really live.
Then why call it spirituality? Why not just call it life?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's what they called it back then, but for some reason now we call it spirituality. I mean, in Rome, contemplation and philosophy was a fucking integral part of the society. Super, super integral, right? They went to schools for this, if I remember it correctly. Like they had specifically schools for this sort of conversations. And now look at us. I think it's only now in these modern times that we for some reason have neglected the need, and I don't know, it's not a need, neglected the value of this. Because our attention is so preoccupied with everything that is happening outside of us. Because now there are so many stimulants outside of us. Okay? I think it's just a byproduct of the type of environment that we're creating for ourselves, which is a attention oversaturated environment. Like you can be focusing on something outside of yourself the whole day you're awake. The whole day you're awake, you can distract yourself with YouTube, with drugs, with porn, with etc., etc., etc. You know, so I think that maybe it's just a byproduct of the times that we live in.
Oh, it definitely is a byproduct. I agree.
Yeah, and I think, you know, like I think that all of us I think human beings are like chasing, you know, we chase something. Some people chase happiness, other people chase success. I think really what we're all chasing is the same thing. I think all of us are chasing the connection to this again. This contentment and this peaceful fulfillment that, you know, that
Even with the most basic survival instincts.
well, with anything. And that's the key point. No matter the outside, internally you are at rest.
One thing you said is that you can keep distracting yourself.
Yes.
Can you?
I personally could, yeah. And I'm taking from my experiences of gaming, from YouTube, you know, because I'm sometimes when it gets bad, and like 2 days ago it was really bad.
That's what I mean exactly, though. That
Yeah.
feeling of you can't keep doing it forever because at some point it will feel bad.
This is true actually.
Yeah.
This is very true actually. But that's wow. Okay, so look at this. The only reason why I know it was really bad is because I had that other experience to compare it with. Meaning, if I didn't know that I could be spiritually at rest and content and peaceful, the way I would be feeling, I would think that's the only way I can feel. So I would go further and further down the rabbit hole rather than go out. Are you following?
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, not are you following, but did I explain that like in an understandable way? Maybe not. Okay, look. 2 days ago, it was whack. I was playing computer games. Okay, so I'm gaming, and I had gamed the whole day. I hadn't done any yoga. I had done nothing except game. And then I was always listening to YouTube. Okay, so like tab onto the game, tab onto YouTube, watching a video. Boring. Okay, next video. Tab into the game, tab into YouTube. Open Netflix. Tab into the game, tab into Netflix. Listen to Netflix in the background. Open Prime Video. Okay, because the Netflix thing was boring. Tap into Prime Video. Open one. Watch it. Never watch one thing. Always do two things at once. So on and so forth. That went on and on and on and on the whole day. And then at the end of it, I was like, this is awful. This is awful. But I only knew that it was awful because I had the experience of being at rest and being calm and having done yoga, to compare it with. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay? So, for some people that aren't told that this is a way, that there is a path like this, which is inward, to get to contentment, to get to peace, they're chasing one thing after the other because they don't know. They just don't know that there is this place.
That's really scary. But, I mean, both of us at some point didn't know.
Yes.
Honestly, we don't.
Yeah.
Still probably don't know much about it.
Well, I agree. We
place.
don't know a lot of. I agree. I think that I constantly remind myself that I know nothing. Still, I know nothing, because then I open myself more and more to know more. Because if I think I know, then I conclude. By knowing nothing, you stay open, and yeah. Imagine, yeah, man. It's scary. This is scary. What's scary is living your whole life like that.
Exactly, yeah.
What's scary is to, and maybe this is why we have, especially in Western society, shun death as such a it's bad if someone dies, and don't talk about death, and if you talk about death, the whole mood changes in a room. It's like, ignore death, it's not gonna happen to me, we all think we're not gonna die. We are all going to die.
Promise in
yes,
life.
You are going to die. I'm going to die. I am going to die, and I don't know when it's gonna happen.
Could happen
but
right now.
It could happen when I walk out of the house, But when we say that, we're almost ridiculing it again.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Death is a fucking reality. This existence will end at some point. And therefore, this creates a bit of a sense of urgency in me. It's like, fuck, yeah, man, I'm gonna die. I'm really gonna freaking die. I'm really gonna freaking die. Holy macaroni. Holy shit. I don't want to live. I want to make this experience great. Because it's freaking limited. It's super limited, actually. I'm already 24. Holy shit. Holy shit. Whoa, dude. My experience here is limited as fuck. Sorry for saying so much. My experience here is super, super limited. I am going to die. I want to make this experience great. I don't want to have a shitty experience here. I don't want to have the one golden ticket and make it mediocre. I don't want to have the one golden ticket and make it shitty. I want to have a good time. I want to have a really good time. And I'm not saying that because I don't know. I'm just saying that for the sake of making it good. I really just want to have a good time, and that's coming from a child perspective almost. I just want to have fun. I want to have a fun time. I want to have joy. I want to, I want to live this. I really want to deeply live this. I really, really want to, when I'm old, be like, you know what? Nice. Yeah, not judge it as a good or bad or this or that or whatever, but just, I want to feel peace. I want to feel peaceful and content. I want to feel peaceful and content at the end, and I want to feel peaceful and content all the way through. Because we think you can't have both. But you can. It's possible. It's actually possible. and I'm speaking from experience, okay? I'm not trying to be some motivational speaker that's trying to tell you like, hey, anything is possible in your life, blah, and it gives you like a little dopamine boost, and then you turn off the podcast, and then it's like, oh, now I'm alone again, and my life is shitty. No, like, genuinely, this is possible. This is genuinely possible. And I'm not trying to convince you to do it or not. It's just, the only thing I'm really trying to do, I'm going to be fully transparent now. The thing that I'm trying to do is, number one, talk about my experience of how it's been. And number two, just show that there is this possibility. Do you understand? I'm just trying to show that this is possible. That's all really. That this is a thing, like, it's actually possible to do this. It's not like this thing doesn't exist. It's not like you can't have a great time all the way through in life and at the end. I'm just trying to show and share that this is actually possible. You know? And I think it's actually possible for anybody.
Of course.
I think it's actually possible for literally anyone.
As long as you're human.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only qualification.
I think the only qualification you gotta have is you're a human being.
Or even not.
Just yeah, I mean, who knows, right? Who knows, right?
But
who knows, right? Anything? Yeah, that's true, actually. Who knows, right? I don't know, but what I do know is it's possible for anybody. It doesn't matter your like, it doesn't matter your financial situation. It doesn't matter, like, nothing matters. Nothing matters except that you're here. And everybody is here. We all got born. We are all here. That's the only thing that's important. And not even that is important. You know, not even that is like, evil importance or good or bad. It's just that you can. Anyone can. There's nothing special about me for being able to do it, you know.
Do you have any book recommendations?
Oh, wow. Haha, no.
Okay.
Everybody's like, wait, what the fuck? Fuck you, Carl. Give me a freaking book. Look, why do I say no? Because I don't want to give you another how-to. I don't want to give you another how-to. The thing that's important, I think what you're asking is like, how do I progress on this journey? I think maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, this whole podcast is about how do I progress in this journey.
Yeah.
It's literally called Unfinished Business.
I understand.
Yeah,
that.
so the name comes from Hannes.
Yeah, cool.
Saying it on the podcast.
Yeah,
humans
cool.
by nature are
unfinished business. Yeah.
So,
I wonder about that. I'm not sure if I agree with him on that.
Why not?
I don't know. I think that I don't know. Just internally right now, something is disagreeing. I would have to evaluate a little bit more why, but I don't know if I would agree with him that we're unfinished business. Maybe we are perfect business that just thinks we're unfinished. You know?
Could very well be.
But I don't know. So something was just a bit off. So anyway, okay, I will tell you some books. I will tell you some books, but first I will say the only thing that is needed, that is really needed, and yeah, I use the word need now, even though before I said there is no need, but the only thing that is really needed, in my experience, in order to really progress on this, is a genuine desire to do so. If you have a genuine desire to truly start living, you will find a way. You will find a way. Anybody will find a way if you truly desire it. Okay?
All you need is to have that.
All you need is to truly want it. That's all you really need. Okay? Truthfully, that's all you really need. And that's inside of you. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to do anything. It's not a doing. It's not like you need to write it in your, I don't know, whatever journal. You don't even need to write anything you don't even write it in your notes on iPad. You just need to have a genuine desire to do so. That's all. And you will find a way. Your life will move you in the direction that it will happen. That's how it worked for me. And I'm confident that that's how it will work for other people. I'm confident. So
Now book recommendation.
that being said, some books that have been very impactful for me are the following. The author Kapil Gupta. He has 3 books. 2 of them are discourses where he speaks to his students and they ask him questions. And one of them is a combination. It's kind of a narrative slash conversation with students. And I don't know the names of the 2 with the discourses, but if you look on Amazon or wherever, you will find them under Kapil Gupta, Kapilgupta. And the book that is like narrative slash questions is called At Mamun.
Mhm.
The something At Mamun. Another book that has been very, and I would leave it at that, to be honest. I would leave it at that. Let me think if I want to. Other books I've read that were very enjoyable were the autobiography of a yogi by I hope I'm not botching the name here, Paramahansa Yogananda. I got curious about that because that was the book apparently that Steve Jobs gave to everybody at his funeral. Steve Jobs became spiritual after uni. He went to India, by the way. Yeah, really cool. No, I didn't know this. He apparently, I don't know if he went to India actually. He was like, and he was a hippie for a while too. Really cool. That was really enjoyable. But again, don't read it because Steve Jobs is a cool guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, or do. You know, it was also a part of my journey. I read it because Steve Jobs was a cool guy, but it wasn't. It was a book that gave me something that I needed at that time, but it didn't really bring me to the actual truth. Okay, so just that being said, and that's about it, I think. But big but. I was reading like 4 or 5 books at the same time. Now I'm only reading the 3 of Kapil Gupta, and it's like now I'm on the 3rd iteration.
Because I'm stuck on that as well. I read a lot of books at the same time. I can't get through them all.
Yeah, I understand. I did that too. Now I'm literally just reading these 3.
And you're rereading them.
And can you fucking believe it? I'm rereading them. I never thought, for one thing, I started to really read books, like really read, in like when Corona started.
Okay.
I never fucking read. It was so boring to me before. I was like, fuck that, you know. And now I'm rereading books. Are you crazy?
Honestly,
I never thought that this would happen to me.
The best way to consume art, whatever form of art that is, literature, you know, video games, films, music, whatever, is to do it at least 3 or 4 times. If it's really a masterpiece, then you have to use it 3 times.
Yeah. There's do you know Naval Ravikant?
Yes.
Oh man, this guy has oh my god, listen to the podcast with him and Kapil Gupta. That's how I found out about him.
Okay.
Oh my days. Yeah, before you get any of the books, listen to that podcast. It's like 35 minutes long. It's called Conquering the Mind.
Okay.
It's with Kapil Gupta and Naval.
On the Naval podcast.
On the Naval podcast on YouTube. And that, Conquering the Mind.
Okay.
That, I listened to it and I was like, holy shit, this guy's amazing. Kapil and Naval also. Naval says like, I would rather read the 10 best books over and over again than read like 1,000 books or something. You know what I mean? Like he says that too. So yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I think that especially because I'm noticing with myself, I'm changing, and I'm growing, so my perspective is changing, and that means I'm taking different things out of the same piece of literature that before I didn't notice. You know, so it keeps on being a well of, you know, let's of wisdom, right? So yeah, I would really recommend to listen to that podcast. And thank you for having me here, man.
Thank you for joining me, man. This was amazing. This was really, really fun.